on your test review. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with number 12. So number 12 says George was on a diet. Let Y be his weight. So Y is the weight. And X be the number of weeks. This is the equation that models George's weight loss. Okay, so we're going to use this equation right here. I'll highlight it too. And then the question says if George was weighed after 10 weeks, so 10 weeks is the X, and he weighed 170 pounds, so 170 is the Y, what is the residual for George's weight loss? So remember we talked about this in class the other day. A residual is just the distance between a point and the line of best fit. Okay, so this is the calculator active section. I don't feel like graphing the point 10, 170 by hand, and I don't feel like graphing with a decimal by hand, so I'm going to go put these two pieces of information in Desmos. So the first thing I'm going to type in Desmos is our equation. So I'm going to go to box 1 and type in Y equals negative 1.25x plus 200. And there's my line graph right there. Remember, if you can't see it, you can drag the screen. You can also zoom out or zoom in. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to type in is this ordered pair. So the X is 10 and the Y is 170. So 10, 170. All right, so this line right here, this black line, is the line that represents George's weight loss. And this red point is where he weighed in at 10 weeks and was 170 pounds. So the first thing we should notice about our red point is that it is below the line of best fit. So remember we talked about this. If a point is below the line of best fit, that means the distance is going to be negative because that residual is below. So my answer choices have to be A or D because those are the only two negative options. Okay, so now when I click on this red point, we know that's 1070. If you go to the point above it on the line of best fit, does everybody see that that is 10 and then the Y value is 187.5? Okay, so if we want to find the distance, we can do 187 minus 170. All right, so on my paper, I'm going to do 187.5 minus 170. And then in my calculator, if I do 187.5 minus 170, I get 17.5. So your answer for 12 is going to be C. Okay? All right, for 13, a charter fishing company charges a set fee and a charge per fish caught F to fish on their boat tour. The table compares the cost for fishing with the number of fish caught. So the number of fish caught is my X. The total cost for fishing is the Y's. So the first thing I'm going to do before I even keep reading is I'm going to go put this data in Desmos so that I can maybe find the line of best fit or just so I can look at the data points, okay? Because it seems like we're going to need those. So I'm going to exit out everything I have, go to the plus button, add a new table. I'm going to put my X's in first. Then I'm going to put my Y's in. $37.00 is just 37, and then 49.75. Remember, if you hit this zoom button right here, it's going to fit it so all your points are seen nicely on the screen. Okay? So now it says if Jaquan paid $65.73, how many fish did he catch? So they gave us how much he paid, which means they gave us the cost. So they're telling us that Y equals 65.73. And they're asking us how many fish. So what we're trying to find is the X that goes with this point. Okay? So in Desmos, I'm going to go type in a new box, Y equals 65.73. Now, Miss Poole literally just forgot to do a step, and y'all let me forget it, so make sure you don't forget this tomorrow. Before I can find this y value, I'm missing my line of best fit, so we should have put in our line of best fit, okay? So I'm going to put it right here. y1 squiggle mx1 plus b. We'll find my line of best fit. So do you see how it fit that red line as best as it could through these points? That's why it's called a line of best fit. And now if I click and drag, I can easily see the point where those two cross. So when Jaquan pays $65.73, he caught about 21 fish. So 20.999 is going to round up to 21 fish. Alright, so that's how you do number 13. So hopefully you're starting to realize that when you know how to graph these lines and when you know how to put data into Desmos and find the intersections, it's a lot easier than graphing by hand, especially when you have decimals and large numbers, okay? Alright, so let's look at number 14. Now number 14, we're going to have to do by hand because it's not multiple choice. And we have to find the perpendicular point that goes through. Well, actually, we can do it in Desmos. I'll show you guys both ways. I'm going to do it by hand first, though. So what is the y-intercept of the line that passes through the point -6, 1 and is perpendicular to the line y equals -2x plus 5? So if I'm doing this one by hand, get some graph paper. I actually have graph paper for this one, which is nice. We're looking for the perpendicular line, y-intercept of the perpendicular line that goes through -6, 1, okay, and it's perpendicular to y equals -2x plus 5. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is draw the line that it's perpendicular to, this one right here. So I'm going to put my coordinate axes. There's my y-axis. Here's my x. Okay, so the line that it's perpendicular to starts at 5 on the y-axis. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a point. And then the slope is -2 over 1, which means I'm going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And I'm going to connect these points. Okay. So that's the line that they want us to find, the line that's perpendicular. So remember, this is not your answer. This is what they gave you. We're trying to find the line that's probably going to look something like this, anywhere along this line, that's perpendicular. Okay, so it should form to make a T, or 90-degree angles. So the perpendicular line goes through this point, -6, 1. So I'm going to start at my origin. I'm going to go left 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1 because it's a positive one. So that perpendicular line goes through this point. So we're going to have some kind of line that goes through here, okay? Now, if we can find the slope for our perpendicular line, then we can use the rise over run to figure out where exactly it'll cross, and then we should be able to find this y-intercept that they asked us for right here. All right? So, what I need you guys to remember is that perpendicular lines are complete opposite lines, okay? So, if this line is negative, that means the perpendicular line slope is going to be positive. Okay, if this line had a slope of 2 over 1, then this one is going to be 1 over 2. So remember, perpendicular lines, you flip them and switch the sign. They're complete opposites. So from my pink point, I can go up 1 over 2. So up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And then those points should make the line that crosses at a perfect T through my black line, and it does. All right, so now what they really wanted to know, there's your perpendicular line. They wanted to know the y-intercept of that perpendicular line. So where my pink line crosses the y-axis. Well, if you find the pink on the y-axis, it's right here, and it's at 1, 2, 3, 4. So the y-intercept of that pink line is going to be 0, 4. That's my answer. Okay, so I'm going to go put 0, 4 on our paper. And I'm going to say, C graph paper for work. All right, and now I'm going to show you how to do this one in Desmos. So the first thing you should do in Desmos is graph the original line.